Welcome to the Business Purpose Trends podcast. I'm Phil Preston, and this is your weekly update of less than 10 minutes to help you navigate purpose in business. And today we're looking into CEOs and talent trends, and we'll address questions like, well, why would CEOs be concerned about talent? Or what trends are in play that are relevant to purpose? And how can CEOs, along with all executives and leaders, respond? So let's take them in turn. Number one, why would CEOs be concerned? Well, the main thing I'll draw on here is a data point from the DDI Global Leadership Forecast 2023. And they surveyed 15,000 HR professionals and leaders across 1,500 organizations in 50 countries. Out of that survey process, the top three CEO concerns that bubbled to the surface were, number one, attract and retain talent. Number two, develop the next generation of leaders. And three, maintain an engaged workforce. So this is over and above recession fears or outperforming competitors. And given those three factors are all linked to employees and talent, it's fair to assume that this area of talent is a huge concern. So what trends are in play and what do they mean? Well, there's four that I'm going to mention. Number one, and it's the obvious one, the market for talent is pretty tight in most areas, and you don't need me to tell you that. But what it does suggest is that a genuine employee value proposition and a really positive work culture is going to be exceptionally valuable. By the year 2030, the workforce is going to be dominated by Gen Y and Gen Z. That's millennials and Gen Z. They currently span the age groups of 14 to 43 years old, and in 2030, they'll be spanning 21 to 50 years old. They value doing work that's good for people on the planet. They value organizations whose values align with theirs, and they want a sense of social connection and community at work. They do have somewhat different needs to Gen X and baby boomers because, maybe understandably, they're at a different stage of their life and there's different influences going on. But also they have different learning styles and different leadership preferences. So Gen Y and Z are also staying politically progressive a lot longer than previous generations have. Previous generations would tend to gravitate to becoming more conservative over time at a certain rate, but Gen Y and Z don't gravitate anywhere near as fast as previous ones. So overall, I think to ignore meaning and purpose for these generations who will comprise the bulk of the workforce pretty soon, it's a risky strategy to ignore that trend. Number two, global challenges feel very real. It seems like only 15 years ago to me that climate change and resource limitations felt still quite distant, but today they feel exceptionally real. If it's not just the headlines of heat waves in Europe, North America, and Asia, there's even talk of the Gulf Stream collapsing, and that is big ticket stuff. We're heading into real uncharted waters here if those types of things play out. And in the background, this is really driving the desire for things that need to address these challenges. They're driving government policy, regulation, international cooperation, and certainly consumer preferences. Is it driving it fast enough? Probably not, but it is a big trend. It's impacting what we buy, what brands stand out to us, and so on. McCrindle Research uses the term virtuous consumption to describe this trend, the trend towards sustainability and sustainable purchasing preferences. Now, I'll add, I think there's also a bit of a shift going on here from people wanting to do something good, because I don't know about you, but I think everyone I know is doing something good. And it's more towards maximizing the good you can do. That's quite a different proposition. Maximizing or bringing all your resources and everything you do, which can include your work too, into making the most impact that you can. So that's flowing onto employees and impacting work choices and careers. From a leadership perspective, also a Deloitte Wellbeing survey found that 82% of CEOs and other C-suite executives were more likely to take a job with a company that is advancing human sustainability, and 73% would accept a pay cut to do so. So this is highlighting that the purpose of the organization is more important than we think, and it's not just about personal careers and pathways, which is a nice segue into point three. The pace of change is changing the nature of work. People aren't seeking out specific companies per se, like they might have done in the past. So in the past, someone might have sought out GE or General Electric as a company they wanted to work for. I recall my first corporate role was with the A&P Society in Australia, a really conservative life insurance company at the time, a little different today. But I recall my parents taking so much comfort from this because it was viewed as the sort of company you go to get a job for life. And as a freelancer and small business owner today, I couldn't be any further from that. But for people today, it's very much about passions for things. So pursuing jobs that address environmental challenges, or I want to be in healthcare more so than the company per se. A good friend's son I hadn't seen for a while, I caught up with him a couple of weeks ago. He's a junior engineer on a wind farm, and he's so passionate about what he does. Another good reference point is a book called The Portfolio Life by Christina Wallace. Now, I haven't had a chance to read the whole book yet, but I heard her interviewed. And yes, it's very much about the jobs of tomorrow don't necessarily exist today. Dare I mention AI? You've got to drop AI into discussions today, don't you? But she contends that life and careers are not linear, and you've got to design flexibility into them to future-proof future career, opportunity, but also obsolescence. So it's about developing a portfolio of skills. It's about lifelong learning and having that overall, risk or resilience mechanism. Progressive companies aren't telling people what skills they should gain. They are helping them to understand how they can best pursue meaning and purpose in their own lives through their career and the company they're with, and empowering them to chart their own learning course. And point number 4 in terms of trends, CEOs and leaders, I think, are struggling to reorient their organizations to put purpose at the core of everything they do. The old world mindset doesn't really hold anymore. That old world mindset is, well, we make as much money as we can and we'll give a little bit back, or we'll reduce the harms we cause along the way. Well, that is the old world. The new world is deliver what the world needs with a net positive impact. That's what every company or business should be striving for today, because you won't be in business for very long if you stick with the old model. So this is a big shift, and it's about realizing the power of putting purpose at the center of your business or organization. So you'll be in tune with what society needs, and that builds in resilience, and you'll discover new growth areas that align with positive impact. Now, I've mentioned previously it was the last episode 2, in an Accenture report, they found that 52% of CEOs say purpose is more of a talent branding tool than a real catalyst for change. So people are smart and they figure these things out. If the reality doesn't match the hype, your people are already checking out and moving on. The same report found that only 30% see a link between their work and their company's broader purpose. So while this is a problem, I think it also spells massive opportunity, and it relies on having a progressive view of people and purpose, but seeing your people as business partners and not assets to be flogged or run down. But overall, it's about putting purpose at the core of everything you do. So what strategies could CEOs be using to respond? Well, I'll summarize them pretty quickly, and there'll be 4 key points here as well. 1, capacity. Help people be at their best, support them, help them understand their personal purpose and how the work they do and the organization they're working for is helping them achieve it. Give them access to learning opportunities that will help them gain more meaning and purpose in their lives. So let them be the driver and partner with them, not the master of them. Number 2, it's about cohesion. So clarity of organizational purpose is great for aligning everyone around that common goal. And it becomes a non-negotiable for individuals and teams and divisions to be going off and pursuing their own agenda if you're really clear and firm about that core purpose. But you have to do more than just say it. You've got to have more than just a sexy sounding purpose statement. You've got to put it into action. And that takes a certain amount of smarts and new types of skills. Number 3, creativity. See clarity of organizational purpose as a catalyst for innovation. So focusing on the bigger picture is opening up adjacent market opportunities for many players. And there's a whole another podcast on that topic. Number 4, critical thinking. Purpose as a reference point for all decision making. So whether that's about corporate governance at the top level, or it's about strategy formation or operational things, if purpose is used as a reference point, it means you're coming from a place of consistency, and there'll be a lot of robustness in the decisions that you make. So capacity, cohesion, creativity, and critical thinking. Purpose plays a role in all of them. We've certainly covered a lot of ground in under 10 minutes. I'm wondering, is this consistent with what you see? What else should we be talking about? Where are you seeing purpose play a role, and where are the gaps? I'd certainly love to hear from you wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Business Purpose Trends podcast. Please subscribe or follow the show if you find it valuable. Recommend it to others with gay abandon if you like. And you'll find contact and feedback details in the show notes. I'm Phil Preston. Have a great day, and may the business purpose trend be with you.